Capricorn, welcome to your astrology reading for the month of February. And so the way that this video is structured is really, I'm going to talk about the energy as it kind of flows through the month. You're going to see a lot of things kind of repeat themselves and just how the energy naturally flows from one area of your life into another and just how different areas connect. And so with that said, there's a lot of energy in the sign of Aquarius. If this is your sun sign, you're going to want to listen to your rising sign and your moon sign. So your sun sign is how you express yourself. The rising sign, or your ascendant, if you're running your birth chart, it's the ruler of your first house, and it's the Zodiac sign. And so that is going to tell you how other people perceive you. And then the moon is really how you view everything through this emotional lens. It's how you process everything internally. And so listening to all three, you kind of get this holistic picture of how your month is going to look. And so with that said, Aquarius for you is going to impact your second house of personal finances. And so within the personal finances, this would be money that you own already. This could be things that you value. Anything here, like if you think about it from that perspective, you already have it, you value it, what do you want to do with it? And so leading into this month, so we had the sun and Pluto both enter into Aquarius. So we already have the sun sitting in your house of money, and then we had Pluto move into this. And so Pluto is actually going to be here for roughly 20 years. And so when it comes to your personal finances, there might be a lot of upheaval happening here. There might be just a lot of, it's liberation. It's breaking down old structures that just don't work for you anymore. So if you were always one of those people who was very regimented with your money and things always had to be a specific way, like I always had to say, save 10% of my paycheck, something is going to happen to you during this time frame, and not just the month of February, but like over time, as to, is that the right course of action for you? Is that going to help you achieve those financial goals you have set for yourself? And so really thinking about it from that lens. And so then on the 5th, we'll have Mercury also enter into Aquarius. So we'll have Mercury, Pluto, and the sun all in this house, all in this personal finances, Aquarius energy, liberating, rebel, outside of the box thinking, with Mercury conjunct Pluto, because that's what's going to happen right away. There could be an opportunity for you to get some new, like brand new, out of the box, innovative ideas on how to handle your finances. How to maybe manage some of the things that you value. And I keep looking over, like I'm sitting in my house and it's like, there's things that I value in here, and it's about taking care of those and managing those. And so that's definitely being highlighted here. Any kind of obstacles or barriers that you may have put in place without even realizing it, because these were some sort of limiting behavior, really kind of boxing you in, those would be removed during this time. We'll have Mercury conjunct Mars. And so Mars is actually in the sign of Capricorn, your sign. So this is your personal finances as they relate to who you are. And so more your physical body than your spiritual one, but still with Mars in Capricorn in your first house. So Mars is what actions are you taking that would benefit your finances? What actions do you need to take in order to benefit your finances? And this is really understanding from that intellectual thought standpoint, so that Mercury standpoint, what changes do you physically need to make in order to achieve these goals that you've set for yourself? And goals specifically, because Mercury is going to be sextile Neptune in Pisces. And so Neptune in Pisces is about your dreams. What is it that you want to achieve? For you, Neptune in Pisces is sitting in your third house. So third house of short distance travel, communication, could be siblings, probably more along the lines of travel and communication, because there is this connection to your personal finances. And so with Mercury sextile, this energy, there is going to be some sort of action required. So you've been doing a lot of thinking. Again, this is all really happening at the same time. So you're really thinking about things. You're required to take action in order to go after your dreams. So as it relates to your money, do you need to have a conversation with somebody? Do you need to travel somewhere in order to have that conversation? Mercury is also going to be square Jupiter in Taurus. And so Jupiter in Taurus is actually sitting in your 5th house of creativity. So this would be pleasure pursuits, your passions, your hobbies. Even children are in this house, short-term relationships. And so when it comes to your personal finances, maybe your children, maybe your passion projects, anything around here, any kind of growth that you're trying to experience in this 5th house of creativity. So what is it that you want to grow? What kind of passion projects do you want to invest in? This would be that type of energy. And so Mercury is really thinking about and talking about where do you want to grow that area of your life, because Jupiter in Taurus is an expansion energy. It's also surrounded by a lot of good luck. And so that's on the 5th. On the 9th, we'll have the new moon in Aquarius. So that's going to happen at 5:59 Eastern time. And now we'll have the Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Pluto all in your house of personal finances. And so right away, the Sun and the Moon, this is a new moon, so they're at the same degree point in the sky, they overlap each other. The energy here really works as though it's the same energy. And so when it comes to that Sun, you're expressing yourself, but now you've got your Moon. And so now there's an emotional component too. And so this is about really expressing yourself through your emotional lens. What is it that you want here? What is it that you're trying to achieve? And so right at the same time, so we'll have this new moon energy. So the Sun and Moon are going to be square Uranus and Taurus. And we already know that Taurus occupies your 5th house. And so Uranus is about sudden change. So what could be suddenly changing in this 5th house for you, in this house of creativity, as it relates to how you're expressing yourself or what you emotionally need, how you're expressing yourself in that way. And so how does your personal finances relate to your passions, your hobbies, maybe children? Because what's ever happening here in this 5th house is going to be that sudden type of energy. And so Sun and Moon are going to be in a square. So there is going to be some sort of obstacle and challenge here, like an unexpected bill, like I'm thinking like a college bill or something along those lines. It would just be something that it's going to be sudden. It's just going to suddenly come up, and it's going to require some action on your part with that square energy. It does create an obstacle or challenge. You can overcome that energy. We'll also have the Sun and Moon trine the South Node in Libra. And so the Sun and the Moon, again, we're talking about how you express yourself, maybe through the things you value, through your money, and then trine the South Node in Libra. And so for you, Libra occupies your house of career and public reputation. And so the South Node is actually an eclipse point. We are in Aries Libra eclipse season, so the South Node is in Libra. And so this energy is, it's a very easygoing, flowing type of energy. So how you express yourself through finances and the things that you value, there is a harmony here with this Libra 10th house connection right now. So could be that at the same time you're getting this unexpected bill, you're also, something is happening to your career, because it's 10th house and it's 2nd house, 10th house. So it's money you already have, 10th house. There is an impact here. It's a positive impact on your career and public reputation. So maybe at the same time you're getting a promotion at work, or you're getting some sort of recognition that maybe will increase your finances at some point. So I'm not seeing 8th house because that would be that outside influence of money, but it could lead down that path. That's definitely coming up here. And so Libra, of course, being a very balancing energy. And so having Libra in your 10th house is about kind of that teamwork. It's maybe getting some recognition from that level as well. We'll also have the Sun and Moon sextile Chiron in Aries. And so again, expressing yourself, how do you feel about your money? Maybe that's your kind of comfort zone there. And then we've got Chiron in Aries. So Aries occupies your 4th house of home. And so this is, Chiron in Aries is about maybe some sort of wound coming to the surface as it relates to your home life. And then how does your financial viewpoint or your financial goals, how does that relate to what you need from a wound, like how to heal from this wound? Is it that you need to create more financial security because you have this fear of not having enough or not being enough, this like fear of lack? And so that could be something here. And it could be that somebody in your household has made you feel that way. And it doesn't have to be like your current household situation. This could be growing up, that household. It doesn't have to be the one that you live in now. And so it could also just kind of bring to the surface, like when I was a child, just making this up, like I was a child and I was told I was never going to be anything. And now here I am sitting here with a lot of money in the bank, or just feeling very confident in the money and the trajectory that I'm going on from a personal finances standpoint. And so now it's about having that healing conversation with another person, or maybe talking things through in a way that just gives you some sort of peace. It doesn't necessarily have to heal the relationship. It just really has to heal you, because it's your wound that's coming to the surface here. It does require you to take action. So if you choose to ignore it, you do have free will. So that is definitely a thing. And then So that's the new moon. So Mars will then enter Aquarius on the 13th. And so this is going to happen at 1:05 Eastern time. So for Pacific, it'll be the night before. We'll have Mars, Sun, and Pluto all in Aquarius, all sitting in your house of personal finances. The moon's not here. The moon's moved on. So when this happens, Mars is going to be conjunct Venus in the sign of Capricorn. And so Venus is not yet in Aquarius, so they're sitting in different signs, they're sitting in different houses, but they're close enough that the energy is really melded together. And so what's happening here is Venus in Capricorn, your first house. So what do you value about who you are, how you see yourself physically, mentally, how do you see yourself? And then we've got Mars sitting here in your house of personal finances. And so is there some sort of investment that you want to make with yourself, maybe some sort of beauty improvement or something like, I don't know, maybe joining a gym or something that will better your body, maybe better your health. That could also be influenced here. But there's definitely a connection with the way you value money, maybe the way you spend money, and as it relates to who you are and how you see yourself, and how you see yourself through the lens of feeling beautiful about yourself. And so male or female, everybody can feel beautiful about themselves, very confident, like who they are, that type of energy. That is the Venus energy. And we'll also have Mars square Jupiter in Taurus. And so we know Jupiter in Taurus is sitting, because Taurus is occupying your fifth house. So your fifth house of creativity, passion projects, children. And again, we've got Mars that's in a square. And so Mars is sitting in this house of personal finances. So how are these two at odds with each other? Is it that maybe you're spending more money than you would want to when it comes to your personal, like your passion projects, maybe your children, maybe some sort of hobby, could even be short-term relationships, like maybe you go on a lot of first dates and you're always the one paying, that kind of energy. So that is definitely coming up here. If there are any kind of barriers to kind of expanding what you want in your fifth house, is there anything that you're doing that is creating those? Because this is giving you an opportunity to overcome that obstacle and challenge. With that Mars energy, the actions you take can overcome these obstacles and challenges. We'll also have Mars sextile Neptune in Pisces. And so Neptune in Pisces is sitting in your third house. And so this is about your dreams. And again, short distance travel, communication, maybe even siblings as it relates to your personal finances. And so this is a sextile energy. So you're being given an opportunity here as it relates to your money, the things you value, maybe taking a road trip. Maybe you're going antiquing. It could be something like that, or it could be traveling to have a conversation with an investment banker, or opening up a trust account, something along those lines, because this is definitely action oriented. This is Aquarius energy. So this would be something that you haven't done before, something you just haven't done before. It's an innovative idea. It's an innovative idea to you. It's outside of the box thinking. You're just trying to come up with other ways to create maybe this financial security for yourself. Maybe it's investing in something else. You do have these dreams connected to the type of life that you want to live. With this sextile energy, you are going to be required to take action in order to make that come to fruition. And we'll also have Mars conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. And so all of these actions that you're taking are meant to break you down, not in a negative way. That's probably not the right way to phrase that, but it's really breaking down those barriers. It's helping to create a new structure for yourself that is maybe less structured. Aquarius doesn't like to be so rigid and to be boxed in. That was the Capricorn energy. So when Pluto was in Capricorn, that's what you were doing. And now you're being given this opportunity to really step outside of your comfort zone and see what are the possibilities. What path do you want to go down in order to get what you want? So that's Mars entering Aquarius, and then we'll have Venus enter Aquarius in just a couple of days later. So that's going to happen on the 16th at 8:05 Eastern time. And so Pluto, Mars, Sun, Venus, and Mercury are all sitting in your second house of personal finances. And so that's a lot of planets sitting in one house, one sign. And so there is a lot of energy happening here. Right away, Venus is just coming into the mix. The Sun is getting ready to move out of the mix. The Sun is getting ready to move on into Pisces. But while they're both in this house together, they're actually almost at the ends of the house, and so they're almost at 30-degree point. So there might be a little bit of friction between really what it is that you value, what it is that you want to do, what goals are you trying to achieve, what changes need to happen as they relate to maybe how you express yourself. And so it's a little bit of friction. This is not a major aspect by any means, but there is something here about maybe having some challenges around the way that you're expressing exactly what it is that you want. Venus will also trine the moon in Taurus. And so the moon in Taurus is sitting in your 5th house of creativity, that passions, children, short-term romance, all of those things sitting in your 5th house energy. We've got Venus in a really harmonious aspect here. And so the energy here is kind of like a Jupiter type of energy where it allows for expansion and growth. And so this is the moon sitting here. So what is it that you really want out of your passion projects, out of your children? How does that make you feel? How do you kind of amplify that type of energy? And how is it that the way you spend money, how does that amplify it? Like, do you spend more money on your passion projects because they just make you feel that good? Or you want to venture into new areas, like if you're an artist and you want to start expanding into other areas, like I've always painted, now I want to do sculpting. And so it's really giving you these other avenues. And maybe you never considered that before, because this would be a liberating, out of the box type of energy where you maybe told yourself you weren't capable and now you can. We'll also have Venus conjunct Mars. And so where they before were in separate houses, now they're together in the 2nd house of your personal finances. And so this is about what actions do you need to take in order to get what you want. It's really that simple. So when it comes to your personal finances, what actions should you be taking right now? We'll also have Venus conjunct Pluto. So if there has been some sort of prior actions that you just kind of carried forward because it was something that you always did, this Pluto and Aquarius energy is going to remove those if they just don't work for you anymore. So expect that to change because it just doesn't align with what you're trying to accomplish in your life or maybe what you value. We'll also have Venus square Jupiter in Taurus. And so Jupiter in Taurus is sitting in your 5th house, that passions, your children, those short-term romances. And so again, 2nd house, 5th house type of energy, Jupiter is in the mix. And so it's going to want to grow whatever passion projects you're doing. And so Venus is, so you can see a lot of similar energy. Venus is what you want to do. What do you want to do with your money as it relates to your children, your passion projects, short-term romances? And so this is about creating this kind of harmonious growth in a way that's going to feel really good to you. We'll also have Venus sextile Neptune in Pisces. And so Neptune in Pisces is sitting in your 3rd house. What is it that you want to accomplish? What dreams require maybe communication or short distance travel as they relate to your personal finances? Because Venus is really trying to ground you into this, what is it that I want within this 2nd house of personal finances? What is it I'm going to value the most? Is it really creating this nest egg? Is it buying a house? Is it saving money to buy a house? Like, what is it that you're trying to accomplish here? And what are those goals that you're starting to maybe modify as it relates to what it is you're trying to achieve? We'll also have the sun enter Pisces. And so now we start to get into some of this Pisces energy. So on the 18th at 11:13 p.m. Eastern time, we will have sun enter Pisces. So we'll have Sun, Saturn, and Neptune all in Pisces, all sitting in your 3rd house. And so your 3rd house, communication, short distance travel, siblings, all of those topics, and probably more that I just can't think off the top of my head. We will have the sun trine the moon in Cancer. So the moon in Cancer is actually sitting in your 7th house. And so when you think about the types of relationships you want, one-to-one relationships, what is emotionally fulfilling about those relationships? What is it that you want to do here as it relates to maybe short distance travel, communication? So what kind of conversations do you want to have with somebody, a significant other? 7th house is usually a marriage house, but it doesn't have to just be marriage. It can be business partnerships, but it really is those personal relationships that you have with other people, those one-to-one relationships. And so is there some sort of conversation you want to have? Do you want to express yourself in a way that feels like, okay, I have this goal that I've set for myself. I'm trying to achieve something in this lifetime. This is that sun energy. And I want to have a conversation with you about our relationship. What is it that works? Maybe what doesn't work? And so the energy here with the moon in Cancer is a very loving, supportive type of energy. It encourages you to really go after what you want. The Sun will also be conjunct Mercury in Aquarius, and so they're actually sitting in different houses at this point. So we've got the Sun, we already know where you are in your short distance travel, your siblings, your communication, and now we've got Mercury in Aquarius. So Mercury in Aquarius is sitting back in your personal finances, and so what is it that you're trying to achieve? What is it that you want to do with your money that helps to fulfill some of your dreams here, that makes you want to go after exactly what you want? Because that Sun in Pisces is about your dreams. And so what is it that you're trying to achieve? Is it, kind of going back to that buying house example, is it that you're trying to save up money to buy a house? Is it that you're trying to figure out where you want to live and you've given yourself maybe a short distance kind of radius of places to look? What is it that you want to do? Because that Mercury in Aquarius is about thinking, and it's maybe thinking outside the box. Like, if moving is a goal that you have for yourself, and it's a goal that requires communication, maybe some short distance travel, maybe you're opening yourself up to some possibilities of considering additional neighborhoods or towns or cities or whatever it is. And that Mercury in your second house is like, okay, that's great. So now let me think about what I need to do from a finance standpoint. How do I get there? How do I achieve that goal? We'll have the Sun conjunct Saturn sitting here in your third house. So back to your communication, your short distance travel. Sun is going to be conjunct Saturn. Saturn in Pisces is about the work that you do to achieve your dreams. That's what Saturn is. It's all about the work that you do. This is not something that's going to be handed to you. Saturn requires you to come up with a plan and then execute. And so with the Sun in the mix, this is that kind of fulfilling type of plan that you're trying to create in order to achieve your goals here, in order to go after your dreams. And so again, it's sitting in your third house here. And so how does that involve, or how does that include maybe short distance travel? What types of communication do you want to have? That type of energy. We'll have the Sun semi-sextile Pluto in Aquarius. And so again, we're talking about your house of short distance travel, your communication, your siblings, and then Pluto in Aquarius sitting in your second house. Is there something here that needs to change? Because semi-sextile Pluto in Aquarius indicates that there is a little bit of friction here, easily overcome, but there is a little bit of friction around what it is that you're trying to achieve and what Pluto in Aquarius is trying to remove from your life. And so it's almost like you might be holding on to something a little bit harder than you should, or a little bit longer than you should. It just doesn't work for you anymore. It's about letting that go. We'll also have Mercury now enter Pisces. So that is going to happen on the 23rd at 2:39 in the morning. And so if you're in the Pacific time zone, that's going to be the night before. And so we'll have Mercury, Sun, Saturn, and Neptune all sitting in your house of short distance travel, communication, and siblings. And so I'm not really talking too much about siblings, only because I'm not seeing a lot of that kind of energy come to the surface, but really any of these could also include siblings. So when it comes to expressing yourself, Mercury conjunct the Sun. So this is going to be, how do you express exactly what it is that you want, what it is that you're trying to achieve in this lifetime? So that would be that expression. And that expression could be to anybody here. But when we have Mercury opposite the Moon in Leo, now we're adding this creative expression into the mix. And so the Moon in Leo is actually sitting in your 8th house. Your 8th house is about transformation. And so what kind of creative transformation do you want in your life? What kind of out-of-the-box transformation are you looking for as it relates to the way you communicate, the types of communication you have, or even whom you communicate with? And so there's a lot happening here. There's a lot of possibilities with this energy, with Mercury opposite the Moon. And so it is an opposite energy, so there is a lot of push-pull. And so it could be that maybe you're trying to understand why things need to change, or maybe what exactly needs to change, and maybe you're not 100% okay with it, but Moon in Leo is like, yeah, but this is how you express yourself authentically, that creative expression of self. And so really trying to understand what is happening here. We will also have Mercury conjunct Saturn, so that is all going to be sitting in your 3rd house. And so we saw it with the Sun entering Pisces, now we're seeing it with Mercury enter Pisces, where Mercury is now about, okay, I've come up with this plan on how to go after my dreams. That's Saturn and Pisces. Is there anything here that's just not working? Like, let me think about how this is all playing out. Let me think about the game plan that I've come up with, that strategy, the steps that I'm taking. Is there something here that needs to change? Is there, do I need to talk about this with anybody? Because again, like, we're seeing a lot of that 3rd house. It's an expressive house. It's that communication. And so Mercury also being communication, it could just be that you're communicating a lot about your dreams. could be both processing internally that information that you're receiving and then expressing it outward. We will have Mercury semi-sextile Pluto and Aquarius. And so Pluto and Aquarius, again, sitting in your house of personal finances. And so when it comes to the conversations that you're having, the information that you're processing in your third house of communication, of short distance travel, siblings, how is that maybe misaligned is probably the best way to describe this with the changes that are happening in your finances. Is there some sort of talk that needs to happen here? Maybe it's a talk with your siblings because this is third house. Maybe it's a conversation around your personal finances that you need to have. You need to talk about some sort of transformation that's taking place. There's something here about how you want to communicate exactly what it is that you're trying to achieve. What are your goals? And then how do you go after them? And again, it's a minor aspect. It's a semi-sextile, so it's not going to be significant by any means. And then at the end of the month, we'll have the full moon in Virgo. So that is going to happen on the 24th at 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. And so here it's the sun and the moon are at opposition. So they're in opposite houses, and there is this kind of push-pull energy. And so we know the sun is sitting in Pisces. That is sitting in your third house of short distance travel and communication. We'll have Virgo sitting in your ninth house of long distance travel and higher education. Religion is part of those topics, as well as, because this has been coming up a lot, I'm trying to find the best way to describe it. So everybody has a kind of their belief system. And so philosophy is one thing that always comes up with the ninth house, but it's not an academic type of philosophy. It's how you value things. It's what you want to do, or like how you want to be seen, or your kind of values and viewpoints, and that philosophy. It's your own internal philosophy. And so there is this kind of push-pull energy between this Pisces, and Pisces is like a dreamlike state. So like, let me think about my dream communication and short distance travel, all these dreams that I'm setting into motion here, and how from this ninth house expansion standpoint, what's holding me back? Because there's something here that's holding you back. That Virgo sitting in your ninth house is really urging you to release something that just isn't working for you anymore. Think back over the last 6 months. So when we had the new moon in Virgo, was there something that started? Because this would be the culmination point. And so over those 6 months, you would have learned some things, Virgo type things, which is a lot of internal thinking, paying attention to details, something along those lines. And that's interesting because Virgo, being the very detail-oriented perfectionist, is sitting in your house where things are really more big picture. And so what is it about these details that maybe just doesn't fit with the life that you're trying to live? Because that would be what you need to release here with that push-pull energy. We'll also have the moon opposite Mercury in Pisces, and so Mercury in Pisces. So again, we're going back to this third house energy. What is it that you need to release from this maybe big picture that doesn't align with this path that you're setting forward with, this kind of new direction that you're moving in? There's something about maybe the way that you saw things in the past, that Virgo energy, paying attention to details, maybe you misinterpreted those details. Is there something here that needs to give in order for you to go after exactly what you want? We'll also have the moon opposite Saturn in Pisces. And so again, this is really, if you think about it, we've got the sun, Mercury, and Saturn in opposition to the moon. And so with Saturn in opposition to the moon and Mercury, you're like really thinking about this plan that you've put into place, what needs to change, what needs to go away, what maybe you just need to reconsider in general. And so this is what that moon is kind of directing you towards. It's like, what just doesn't work anymore, because you're really trying to go after your dreams here, and you're really trying to create this harmony with what it is that you want from an emotional standpoint, from a big picture standpoint, but something needs to give here. Now, we will have the moon also trine Jupiter in Taurus, and so Jupiter in Taurus is sitting in your fifth house of pleasure, fun, short-term relationships, children, passion projects, hobbies, things like that. And so with the moon in this energy, it's a trine, so it's a positive energy. This is an easier flowing energy. And so Jupiter in Taurus is about, what do you want to expand? So when it comes to this fifth house, what's happening from a big picture perspective, or things that you've learned over the last 6 months that you can now say, oh, that's what I want to do. I do want to sculpt, and maybe I want to sculpt with a specific type of instrument, or do something with a specific type of material. just making things up here, but you kind of get the idea. It's about taking what you want and really incorporating it into your passion projects so that you can get that emotional fulfillment from them. And so this is the full moon in Virgo, and this is actually the entire February astrology reading for you, Capricorn. So I hope this resonates. If it did, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take care.